Hey guys, welcome to Danielson's Chronicles, Volume 1, Episode 2, or 2. And this is 2 of many more to come, so stay tuned. I just wanted to share with you something that happened to me yesterday, actually, pertaining to my son. So, the children in this class, they get what you call these tokens, right? And these tokens are based on a criteria that the teacher has, right? For all positive things that a child can do to get them. So he accrued 16 in all. And as of Friday, they all were in his bag. And on the back of every child's chair, there's this sack, right? Where they store the tokens, right? So he had gotten 16. And as of Friday, they were all there, right? Well, Monday morning he came in and they disappeared. They weren't there, right? And so he brought it to my attention, and I said, well, son, did you tell the teacher, right? Now, he hesitated. He didn't answer the question right away. He just went on to explain what they were and how hard he had to work to get them and yada, yada, yada. So after about a minute of him going through his spew, I said, well, okay, well, son, but did you tell her? He said, yeah, I told her. And my question was obviously, well, what did she say? He said, she said, I'm sorry, but that's not my problem. Now, I find it hard to believe that any teacher would tell a child that. Now, I'm the kind of parent where, I'm very objective in general, right? In general, that's probably one of I want to say gifts, where I can kind of filter out some of the emotion of a situation and ask questions. I always want context. So I'm not quick to dismiss the possibility that she did say that, but I'm also not quick to dismiss the possibility that he never told her. Well, here's why. Sometimes, teachers have a large classroom. Sometimes they're trying to monitor and regulate and teach 30, 35 kids. Right? And it's tough. So maybe it was a situation where she was trying to get control of the classroom, and he tried to bring it to her attention at the wrong time. And she may have heard him but not hear him. And so she kind of dismissed it, right? Now, I get that, because I know at times when I'm trying to deal with my daughter, get on her about something, and he chooses to intervene and want to talk about something he's excited about, and I'm like, or something that's on his mind, and I'm like, I'm talking right now, and I may give an answer that's not what he wanted to hear at the time, right? And that's only dealing with 2 kids, right? Now, most of the time, in fact, all the time, I'll circle back around and say, okay, now what were you talking about? But then we're talking about 2 kids. So imagine 25, 30 kids, right? So now, if she did say it, I'm not dismissing her need to be accountable for her response, but at least it provides some context, and it would make me approach her and deal with the situation slightly differently, right? Because at the end of the day, we don't want to be adversaries to the teachers. We want to work with them, because our kids spend most of their childhood in class, right? Now, on the flip side of it, it could be that he didn't tell her. And this is when knowing your child comes into play. So Elijah is very non-confrontational. He doesn't like attention, period. He doesn't like to be the center of anything negative. Even if he's not at fault or if he's a victim, he just don't like attention. He doesn't like to cause confrontation. He don't like getting people in trouble. And so it's quite possible that he never told her. It's quite possible that he never told her. Now, at the time that I decided to shoot this video, I hadn't got a response from the teacher, because I emailed the teacher, just to bring it to her attention that, hey, did Eli tell you about X, Y, and Z? He said this happened, and were you aware? So I just got an email back from her probably like a few minutes before I started to record this. And she said, no, I'm sorry. I wasn't aware. I'm terribly sorry. I'll deal with it when I see him. So my spidey senses were right. He didn't tell her. And so now it boils down to the importance of teaching our children to speak up for themselves. And I've been trying to get him to do that for a while. And, and I understand to a degree, because even I, when I was younger, had a time to speak up for myself for various reasons, especially when it came to class, right? And especially when it came to something I didn't understand. I always felt like if I spoke up about something that I didn't understand, that I would be looked at as dumb or unintelligent, and people would laugh at me. And in some cases, they did snicker. And even as a young adult, when I was in college, as a young adult, and when I've taken adult classes, even in my late 30s, right? That fear sometimes was there. But eventually I realized that, hey, at the end of the day, I need clarity so that I can have answers to help me move forward with whatever it is I'm trying to accomplish. And so anything outside of that is irrelevant. So I'm able to, get over my insecurities and not be afraid to ask for help, to speak up and make myself vulnerable. And that takes time for some people. Some people don't care. And for some things, I'm like that. Not everything. But I wasn't always the sharpest tool in the toolbox. So that insecurity was always there. So that's what kind of made me be reluctant to speak up. My son has his own insecurities, right? His own fears, his own reasons for being reluctant to speak out. And so, what I've been trying to tell him is, I want you to tell me everything. Tell me all the details of whatever it is that's on your mind, whatever it is you're trying to deal with, so that regardless of how bad you think it makes you look, just speak up, right? Because I'm going to advocate for you. I'm your father. I'm always going to be there to speak up for you, to defend you regardless, right? But you got to tell me everything. You got to, right? Because if you don't, I can't help you, right? So that's, and it also filters, it trickles over to other things. Like even when he gets in trouble about things, I always tell him, hey, be open and honest about what happened. Because I'm not going to always, sometimes I'm going to bark. I'm going to bark a lot. Sometimes I can be a fuss box. I get it from my father. My father was a fuss box, right? So, I guess I get it from him. But my father and I never left each other's presence or never got off the phone without saying we love each other. And that's one thing, because he passed I think 2020. January 2020, right? So that's something that we knew how we felt. I knew he loved me, and say my son knows I love him, even though I'm a fuss box, right? But I told him, hey man, you're gonna hear my mouth, right? I'm gonna be a fuss box because you're always gonna do something, right? That's ill-advised because you're 8 years old, and childhood is filled with growing pains, right? And if I don't fuss or bring something to your attention, then you're never gonna know how I feel about it, and you're not gonna know if it's wrong or not, right? So and I don't berate him or anything. If you know me, if those who know me know what I'm talking about. But anyway, so I just tell him just to be open, and I always try to look for opportunities to teach him. Say, hey man, this is why this isn't a good idea. And even when I do fuss him or when I have punish him, I always ask him, hey, do you know why? Do you think this is fair? And if not, tell me why. You have the floor. Tell me, right? So I can understand your line of reasoning, and then you can understand mine, right? So, again, this is just, it's a lesson that, that I'm trying to teach him, and I'm always trying to find ways to make him feel comfortable with just being open and honest, regardless of how he feels it makes him look. Because at the end of the day, my job is to protect him and advocate for him. And so that's that. So he doesn't know about this email, obviously, because he's already in school. So I'm going to bring it to his attention, and, and just in a very subtle way, so that he doesn't feel shame, because, for him to tell me that he told the teacher. Not only did he lie to me saying that he told the teacher, but he also lied about what her response was. And that wasn't cool. So I have to kind of, talk to him about that without, making him feel less of a person, because, it's all growing pains. So anyway, all right, that's it for today, folks. I'll talk to you later. Have a good day. Peace.